Welcome. I am so excited. Today you will learn React and so much more. We will clone the Nike website. This training video is less than 30 minutes and it covers all steps needed to install the source code and integrate all components. It's by playing around with this source code you will for real learn React, styled components, integration with Stripe checkout, CSS, Firebase, Firestore, Google Firebase Auth, Firebase hosting, Firebase cloud functions, integration with the Send-in-Blue CRM, React router, UseContext hook, persistent state management, UseState hook, UseEffect hook, local storage, JSX expressions, JavaScript, HTML, full text search, and more. We use cloning because it is the fastest way to teach. We pick a cloning object, in this case Nike website, and we clone it, develop the same app, but with our own technology. We provide you with the source code already developed by us, and then you can install it on your machine and play around with it. You will set up your own integration between React and Stripe checkout, and with Firebase, and the Send-in-Blue CRM. You will use styled components, you will become a master of CSS, and you will easily manage React development projects after this training. Miss Cloner has one goal, and that is to teach you the best web development technologies, the quickest way, the best way, to turn you into a fierce web developer. Today it's the Nike clone, tomorrow who knows. The most important step for you right now is to follow Miss Cloner on YouTube. Pause the video and make sure to click subscribe. It could be one of the most important clicks you do this year. Very cool to have you here. We have 30 steps to complete, in less than 30 minutes. Of course, when you install on your own, it will take more time, perhaps 2 hours, perhaps 4 hours. Then you will want to play around with the code. We are planning more tutorial films on the tech provided in this film. Make sure to subscribe now. Let's get going. I am so excited. Step 1. Now let's start by installing the Nike clone. At Miss Cloner we have professionals making our instructions. This install instruction is hyper-intuitive, 100% complete, all steps included, important things to pay attention to are highlighted in red or yellow. We have 30 steps to cover. When done, you will have a complete clone project on your local machine, including integrations with Stripe checkout, Send-in-Blue, and Firebase. Including all the technologies we mentioned earlier. Okay, let's start. The instruction is delivered to you in a PDF, together with the source code. You will find a link to that source code in the description below. You can relax while watching this video, all that is said here is also included in the installation instruction. Everything you need to type to install is also in the PDF file for you to copy and paste into your project. Maximum comfort. Let's start. Yes. I love making tutorials. In step 1 you unzip the zip file containing all files. Unzip it on your desktop. Double-click on the installation instruction file. Then open a terminal window, then cd into the app1 folder. App1 is the clone source code. Type code and then dot and that will start Visual Studio Code and open up your project. If you do not have the development environment, then pause and install it. You will need to have Visual Studio Code, Yarn, NPM, and Node.js installed on your machine. We assume that went well. Wow! Great start. Step 2. Wow, this is smooth. You are already on your way to install a complete web application project. I am proud of you. You now have a development environment set up, and you have the project files on your desktop. Great! Let's install all the dependencies for the App1 project. Switch focus to Visual Studio Code with CMD Plus tab. Open a terminal window in VSC by clicking Terminal. Then type yarn and hit Enter. Now Stripe Checkout API will install, also Firebase, and styled components, and Send-in-Blue, all of those components we will need moving forward. Why do they install? It's because they are listed in the package.json file. While waiting for the install to complete, click the package.json file, and see that it has Stripe and Firebase listed. Great. Okay, now the dependencies installation is done. Where were the files installed? You will find them in the Node Modules folder in your project. They are just there, you will not need to touch them, they just make great things happen for you. Often there are about 100,000 files. Thank God we don't need to code all that ourselves. When you have many React projects, it's good to know that it is the Node Modules folder that takes up disk space. If it's an archived project that you don't work with every week, you can delete the Node Modules folder and save lots of space. And when you want to work with the project again, it's just a matter of typing yarn and hitting enter. Okay, step 2 completed. We can move on. Great work. Step 3. Great. Now we switch to Chrome and open a tab with Firebase. Search for Firebase in Google Search. Find the Firebase console and click. If you are already signed up with a Firebase account, this will flow smoothly. If not, it's a quick process to sign up. Pause the video and sign up for a Firebase account. Also, you will need a Gmail account, sign up for that as well, if you don't have one already. Great. Now you have Firebase and you have a Gmail account. Let's move forward. In Chrome, in the Firebase tab, click Add Project. Give a name to the project, something like Shoot Project. Some questions will follow, answer them like this. Don't add Google Analytics, answer no. Click Next to let Google set up the project for you. This will take a minute or two. Don't wait around, check your emails, or prepare for step 4. Okay, now Google is done. Nice work. You are getting the hang of it. Step 4. We will use Google Authentication to safely sign up users, let them sign in, let them change their email address, let them change their password. In Chrome, in the Firebase tab, click Authentication. Click Get Started. We will use email and password, since many use this type of authentication when they have their own web shop and want to save profile and account information. Click that option. Click Enable, click Save. Now you have Google Authentication enabled in the Firebase end. We will still need to do web development in the React end, to call the Firebase API to do sign up, sign in, and calls to other functions in the API. You will find most of that code in the context provide file in the components folder of the React project app1. But let's install everything first, before you start playing around with the code. Great work. Step 5. While we have the Firebase website on screen, also click Database. Click Create Database, click Start in Test Mode and click Enable. It does not matter which server location you choose, let Google use the default one, the presented location. Now wait for the Firestore database to install. It will take a minute or two. Firestore is where we will save data. It provides us with a persistent storage location where we can add the products of the Nike store. We also use it to store orders that the user places. When they put a product in the cart and check out, there is an order document created in the orders collection. Don't worry about these collections and documents. I have prepared the application with a mock-up function that creates the product collection and populates it with 100 product documents. More about this later in the installation instruction. The orders collection need not to be pre-populated, it will populate as the user places orders. Okay, Firebase is done with its work. And we are done with step 5. Wow! Great! Smooth. Step 6. Okay, again let's prepare more functions in Firebase. We will use hosting. We will need that for the Firebase cloud functions we use. They are in a project of their own, app2. But first let's enable hosting. Click Hosting, click Get Started, click Next again, and click Continue to Console. Done. Wow. Step 6 was an easy one. Step 7. Now we need a Firebase API key to give to our React app, app1. This is needed for React to communicate with Firebase. Click Project Overview, click Project Settings, scroll down, find the Your Apps section, and click the icon looking like a smaller than / bigger than, and click that, and then enter an app name, something like Shoe App, and then click Yes on Firebase Hosting, and then click Register App, and then click Next again, and click Continue to Console. Okay, the app is set up. Now scroll down again, and find your apps, and click the Config Radio button, copy the Firebase config text, and click CMD plus tab to switch to Visual Studio Code. Find the Firebase JS file, and find the 3x section of the code, and then paste your own Firebase config text. Wow! That's it. You are a smart one. Step 8. Let's integrate the Sendinblue CRM. Search for Sendinblue in Google Search. If you don't have an account with them, then pause the video and get one. It's actually free to add users to the CRM. However, it will cost to send them emails. That's why the CRM is a good choice for startup companies. A startup will want to add many users before they start paying. I think Sendinblue offers you to send 10,000 free emails, or at least it will come at a low cost. Okay. You now have your Sendinblue account set up. Move on to create an API key and copy it. In the top right menu you find your name printed, click your name, then click SMTP and API, followed by clicking Create Key. In the process, copy the key, and then switch to Visual Studio Code by clicking CMD plus tab, and in the Windows menu select App 1, and then find the context provider file, move on to search for Send Email by clicking CMD plus F, and then find the 3x text and paste the key there. Also do this for the Add Contact function by searching for Add Contact to find yet another 3x. This is where you again paste the API key. Why do we do this? We will want the user of the web shop to click Sign Up, and we will want to follow up on that action with some JavaScript. We use one JavaScript to send a welcome email, and we will use one JavaScript to add the user to the Sendinblue users database. Sendinblue we use to run campaigns to get users excited about our products. Yes, marketing. Okay. Wow. Congratulations. Step 9. We will need Chrome development tools installed in Chrome. If you do not use Chrome, please go ahead and install it. You will need it when developing this clone. Okay, I assume you paused the film and made sure you have it. Let's move forward. When hitting CMD plus Alt plus I, you will have a section of your browser window with debug tools. It will come in handy soon. Congrats. Nice work. Step 10. It's time to use that mockup function I prepared for you. It's an icon to click in the App 1. So you will need to run that app. Switch to Visual Studio Code and the App 1 project. In the terminal window, start the app by typing yarn start. First the app will compile and then a browser tab will be opened automatically. If port 3000 is free, it will run in that port. That is, you will find your app running on www.localhost:3000. In the tab you will now see the web shop. In the top right corner you will find a database icon. Click it. The mockup function will run and it will ask you if it's okay to add the products to the database. Click OK. Let's have a look in the Firestore database. Switch to Chrome and then select the Firebase tab. Click Firestore. Click Refresh in the browser. Now you will find a products collection. Click it. You will find that the mockup script has created many product documents for you, shoes, randomly added, with random product names and all data random, just to simulate a web shop. You also see a counter collection. I use it to add document id when adding user documents and order documents. Done. Great work. Step 11. We are done with 30% of the installation process. Wow. I'm so excited to be here, helping you with this. Step 11 is a fast one. Those steps are important as well. Just switch to Visual Studio Code and the App 1 project, click the file context provider and hit CMD plus F and search for checkout. You will find a call to Stripe checkout. Make sure that call is commented. That is with 2 slashes. It means we will not want the Stripe checkout to run when we do our initial testing of App 1. We will want to wait with that until we also have installed App 2, the cloud functions we use to make Stripe checkout happen. So, we are done, the call is commented. Easy peasy. Great work. Step 12. Now let's test App 1. Let's test the code we have so far. In this test process we will also need to let Google Firebase set up an index in the database. The call to create an order document needs an index to be prepared on the Firebase end. Don't worry, Firebase will do this for us, but we will need to click a link. We will need the Chrome DevTools console, and that we have prepared in an earlier step, you remember? Great. Let's start. In Visual Studio Code, in the terminal window, start the app by typing yarn start. Wait for it to start. If it's already started, you don't need to stop and restart it. React compiles in real time, and when you make a change to the code, like we did, it will automatically recompile and update the running application. This works most of the time. Sometimes it's a good thing to do Ctrl+C to stop the application and then do a yarn start to get it going again. Downside is you need to wait about 30 seconds for the local server to start again. Done. We are up and running. You see a web shop on your screen. Click Sign Up, enter your email address, password twice, and your first and last name, and then OK. You are signed up by App 1. This is a call from the React app to Firebase Authentication. You will automatically sign in, and a pop-up, will tell you that you are signed in. The browser main window is populated with shoes. Click one of them, and you will see the product page. Now click Add to Bag. You will see a small red widget on the cart icon, top right. Click that icon. You are now on the cart page. Make sure you have verified your email. Switch focus to your Gmail tab, and find the email that was sent to you by Firebase. Click the Verify link. Now you are verified, close the Verify tab. Switch to the tab with the shop. Click Refresh in the browser. Now you are ready to check out. But first, open the Chrome DevTools, hit CMD plus Alt plus I. You will see the console. Now click Checkout. You will see the cart emptied. And you will see a spinner. Don't wait for the spinner to stop, it will not. In the console you will see a red link from Firebase. Click it. A Firebase tab will open up, and Firebase will ask you if you want to create an index. Click Yes. Now wait for a couple of minutes. Okay, the index is there, ready to be used. Wow! Congratulations, Step 13. The Firestore index is set up. Now let's place a new order. Switch to Chrome, click the Web Shop tab, choose a Nike shoe you like. Click it. The product page will display. Now click the button Add to Bag. A red widget will show up in the top right corner of the cart icon. This is when you click the cart icon for the cart page to show. On the cart page, click the Checkout button. The animated spinner will show up in the middle of the screen. It indicates that the app is processing something. On the cart page you will see the cart being emptied. To verify that the order came through, now click the Orders menu item in the top menu. The order page will list your order. The heading of any order will be red, since it is not paid yet. Not until we integrate Stripe Checkout will we get paid orders. The spinner will not disappear even though the app is not processing. Don't worry too much about the spinner while testing. It will work fine in the final version of the shop. When we have installed Stripe, as Stripe redirects us to the order page, the spinner will disappear. The test result was perfect. No error message in the console window, and your order was listed in the order page. Wow! Great work. Step 14. From here on, it's all about getting the Stripe checkout working, so that we can complete a purchase and pay for the product. Stripe will be in test mode, so we will not need to pay with real money. Wow! Nice work, Stripe. That's a nice feature to have when developing an app, and try out payment functions by simulating a purchase. Thanks. But first let's enable Firebase Cloud Functions in the Firebase end. Switch to Chrome and Firebase tab. Click Functions. Click Get Started, click Upgrade Project, enter a small amount of money, $10, and click OK. You will need a paid version of Firebase to use Cloud Functions. Don't worry, you only pay if you make thousands of calls to the Cloud Functions. And if you have paying customers making those calls, you will also have money to pay Google some of it. But that will not happen while playing around with this clone. You might get a bill with 10 cents or something like that. Okay. Done. Cloud Functions are enabled on the Firebase end. Great work. Step 15. Now start working with App 2. It is the app with the Cloud Functions needed to integrate Stripe Checkout. Switch to the terminal outside of Visual Studio Code. Now cd into the App 2 folder. Type code and with that command a new instance of Visual Studio Code will open. Also your App 2 will open inside of Visual Studio Code. Now you will want a terminal window inside of Visual Studio Code. In the top menu, find the terminal menu item, click it, and click New Terminal. Not bad at all, you now have an editor open to work with the Cloud Functions. Great work. Step 16. Now connect the App 2 to Firebase. This is a bit tricky. Slow down. Pay attention. First you will need to have the Firebase CLI installed. Most of you already have that. There were instructions on how to install that when you enabled Firebase. Both when you enabled the Firebase project, and when you enabled functions. Okay, I assume you now have Firebase CLI installed. You have a Firebase RC file in your App 2 project in Visual Studio Code. Open the file. And enter the name of your project. If you don't remember, go to Chrome and the Firebase tab and have a look. I named my project Shoe Project. Now you will need to log into the Firebase CLI. Use the terminal window in VSC. Type Firebase Login. A pop-up tab in Chrome will help you to log in. When logged in, go back to the VSC terminal and type Firebase init. The Firebase init command is not robust. It sometimes backfire. Now pay attention. Make sure the logging is correct. In the console you will get a log entry saying using project shoe project, if that's your project name. If the project name is wrong, it's super important that you troubleshoot the problem. But for now, let's assume the system types your project name correctly. The system will ask you a couple of questions. Make sure you answer them correctly. For the first one, choose functions, hit spacebar. This is important. If you do not hit spacebar, it will not work. It's quite silly, since a spacebar is not needed for the other questions. Duh. Now hit enter. Next, choose existing and then select your project. If your project is already in the Firebase RC file, this question might not show up. For the next question regarding JavaScript, choose JavaScript. Then say no to ESLint, and again say no to overwrite package JSON, and after that say no to overwrite index, and for the following question say no to overwrite Git. For the final question say yes to install dependencies. That's it. If you had problems with the project name, you can try any of the following. You must get it right, or Stripe checkout will not work. Alternative 1, in the terminal type Firebase use, add and enter your project name. Now type Firebase use and then type project name. Try Firebase init again. Make sure it types out your project name, that is using project shoe project, but with your project name. Alternative 2, delete the Firebase RC file, and run Firebase init, and let Firebase create the Firebase RC file. Hopefully you will be spared the very painful troubleshooting process, and it will just work for you, right off the bat. It's embarrassing that the Firebase CLI is not robust with regards to the project name management. To its defense, the Firebase CLI is very robust when it comes to deploying in general. We assume Firebase typed your project name correctly in the log and that you now have Firebase connected to your app too. Great! Congratulations! Step 17. This is an easy one. In Visual Studio Code, click the Windows menu item, and select the app to. In the VSC terminal window, cd into the functions directory by typing cd functions. Done. Congrats! Step 18. The cloud app uses Firebase and Stripe. Install those dependencies. This time we use npm instead of yarn, don't ask me why. In the Visual Studio Code terminal window, type npm install, and hit enter. React will install Stripe and Firebase in the Node Modules folder. Wow! I am so impressed. Step 19. Stripe needs a link to one of our two cloud functions, the webhook one. We don't have that yet, since we have not deployed our cloud functions. Let's deploy. Similar to Firebase init, Firebase deploy has an issue with project names. We assume it will execute well. If not, we will provide some troubleshooting alternatives. In the Visual Studio Code terminal window, type Firebase deploy, only functions. Make sure Firebase CLI types out your project name. That is deploying to and then your project name. Let's assume it is a success. Then wait a minute or two for the cloud functions to deploy to your current project. If you have issues, make sure the Firebase RC has the correct project name. You can also use Firebase use, add in the project name, and Firebase use and type the project name. If you need to stop the deploy, hit Ctrl+C. It is very important that you deploy to the correct project, or the Stripe checkout will fail, and you will only see the spinner spinning. Let's assume it's now okay. Great work. Smooth. Step 20. So, you deployed successfully. Great. Let's switch to Chrome, and the Firebase tab, click Functions, and now you see the two functions. Copy the link for the webhook cloud function. Now we are getting closer. Step 21. Now you have the link in your clipboard, ready to paste into Stripe. Switch to the Stripe tab. Make sure Stripe is in test mode. If not, slide the slider to test mode. Now click Developer, and click Webhooks, and now add Endpoint, and there is some information to fill out. Start by pasting the webhook link in the endpoint URL field. Then give a short description, let's say shoe website, and then click Select Events, and type Checkout, and select the checkout session completed, and click Add Events, and finally click Add Endpoint. When a user has completed a purchase, Stripe Checkout will make a call to the Webhook Cloud function. The Cloud function will update the order document in Firestore database with the payment details. Perfect. Wow. We are making real progress. Step 22. Switch to Chrome and the Stripe tab. Click Developer and click Webhooks. Now find the correct webhook endpoint that you just created. Find the button called Reveal Signing Secret and click it. The secret webhook key is revealed. Copy the secret by hitting CMD+C. Now you are ready to go and paste this key into your cloud app. Switch to Visual Studio Code, and in the Windows menu item, select App 2. Now go find the README MD file and in there find the text Stripe Payments webhook secret. There is a text 3x. Replace the 3x with a webhook secret. Paste it in there. Great work. Awesome. Step 23. There is also a Stripe secret we need to copy from Stripe. Switch to Chrome and the Stripe tab, hit Developers, click API Keys, and Secret Key, and then Reveal Test Key, and select and copy it. Now switch to Visual Studio Code, click the Windows menu item and select App 2. Now go ahead and find the README MD file, and in there find the text Stripe secret key and paste the key there to replace the 3x text. Wow! You did it. Step 24. There is a public Stripe key, and it is needed in App 1. Switch to Chrome and select the Stripe tab. Now click Developers, and move on to click API Keys, followed by a click on Publishable Key. With that key copied, it's time to switch to Visual Studio Code, and click the Windows menu item, and select the App 1. As the project opens up, go ahead and find the context provider file. You will find it in the Components folder. Click CMD+F to start the search function. Make sure you are in the code window as you hit the key combination. Now add the text to search for Stripe Checkout. In that JavaScript function you will find a call to load Stripe. Replace the text 3x by pasting the public Stripe key here. Done. Congrats. Step 25. We have our keys in App 2 in the README MD file. We need to get those into Cloud Function parameter space. Instructions will follow. Switch to Visual Studio Code, click the Windows menu item, select App 2. As the app opens up, go ahead and find the README MD file. Copy the first command to the VSC terminal. The command is the text starting with Firebase functions and ends with Stripe secret key, including your key. Copy all that and paste it into the Visual Studio Code terminal window. Now hit Enter. Wait a couple of seconds. Do the same with the second command. Copy it and paste it, and hit Enter. This is the command starting with Firebase functions and ends with Payments webhook secret, including the key. Now with the two commands executed, go ahead and copy the third command. It's the text Firebase functions config get. Paste that command in the VSC terminal window, and hit Enter. Wait a couple of seconds. Now you will see a confirmation that your two keys exist in parameter space. Congrats! That was not too difficult, was it? Keep up the great work. Step 26. I chose to use a sales tax in my Stripe checkout. If you set up a web shop, you will most likely need to add some sales tax to apply when selling products. Stripe can help you with this. The basic way of doing this is to add a fixed sales tax, independent of who the customer is. This is the alternative I chose. Switch to Chrome and click the Stripe tab, now click Products, and then click Tax Rates, now click New, then click Sales Tax, and now it's time to choose a percent. Type a rate. I chose 25%. From here it's time to click Add Tax Rate. The browser window will refresh. Now it's time to copy the tax rate code. Copy it. Now switch to Visual Studio Code, click the Windows menu item, and select App 1. As the app displays, click the context provider file in the components directory, and then search for tax. In the JavaScript for the checkout you will find a tax text 3x. Replace 3x with the tax code, paste it in there. Done. Wow. Congrats. Step 27. Now the App 2 is ready to deploy, and it has the Stripe keys in parameter space. Perfect. Type Firebase deploy, only functions. Remember, the Firebase deploy command is not completely robust, so make sure you get the correct console logging. It must say, deploying to shoot project. Deploying will take 1 to 2 minutes. Done. Great work. Step 28. Now let's prepare the App 2, so that it actually calls the Stripe checkout JavaScript. Switch to Visual Studio Code, click the Windows menu item, and choose the app to. Select the context provider file and search for checkout and find the call to Stripe checkout, and remove the comment syntax, the 2 slashes. If you run your app on another port than 3000, make sure to update the success and cancel URLs also in the Stripe checkout function. We assume you are running on port 3000. Done. Perfect. Great. Step 29. You are ready to test the web shop including the Stripe checkout. Switch to Visual Studio Code, then click the Windows menu item and select App 1. In the VSC terminal window type yarn start. Wait for it to compile. Switch to Chrome and click the Web Shop tab. You see your shop. Perhaps you need to sign in? We assume you have verified your email address already. We assume you have completed all 28 previous steps with success. Now select a product, a pair of shoes, click them, and you will see the product page open up. Now click Add to Bag, and then see the widget on the cart icon. Click the cart icon. You will see your cart. Click Checkout. The spinner shows up, and after 5 to 10 seconds, the Stripe checkout page opens in the same tab. You see the product which you previously selected to your cart. As well, you will see the actual price you will pay, test pay, and you see the product title. To the right, you are required to enter payment details. First out is the email address, enter it. Then it's time to enter the test card details, that is 4242, 4242, 4242 and 4242. Thereafter enter the name on the card, that is your name, pick any name. And finally you should click the Pay button. After clicking that button you will see a spinner in the Pay button. After about 5 seconds Stripe will redirect you to the success page, where you see your order. The spinner disappears. And this time around, the order will be listed as paid order, with a heading in light gray. Success. Great work. You have completed this tutorial. Almost. There is one more step to go. Your database is not safe. It is in test mode. Do you remember selecting test mode as you created the Firestore database? Anyone with the Firebase app key can use it to access the database, and delete orders, delete users, etc. And we don't want that to be that easy, do we? I added some rules to the Firestore database to make that a bit more difficult. See Step 30. Anyways, congratulations so far. Step 30. Switch to Visual Studio Code, click the Windows menu item, and select the App 1. In the README MD file you find a rules script. Copy it. Now switch to Chrome and click the Firebase tab. Click Firestore, click Rules, and now paste the rule script. That is, replace the test version Firestore rules. Already now your Firestore database is a bit more secure. It's not bulletproof though. There is also a way to make your important cloud functions more secure. I have not added this technology in this tutorial, but I will add it to the next one. You will want to take that tutorial training as well. The easiest way to do that is to make sure you subscribe to the Ms. Cloner YouTube channel. We will post a new cloner tutorial in a week or two, and in that clone we will continue to add security to cloud functions, and also Firebase storage, a very good feature of Firebase. We will also continue to improve on the code from this Nike clone, and add that experience to new clones. Wow! Marvelous work! You completed all 30 steps. We plan to release a couple of small tutorials, with in-depth training on the individual technologies used in this clone. Here we plan to release individual tutorials on Stripe Checkout, Firebase Firestore, Firebase Storage, Firebase Security, Send-in-Blue integration, style components, CSS, cloud functions, full text search, UseContext, persistent state management, and much more. Have a nice day. See you soon.